Now for the language of statistics. I just found this. I didn't bring it in the slide, but I just wanted to make you think of this plot again that you've seen a number of times now, that what we're really doing in statistics is inferring about a population from the sample data, saying something about the world using the data we have, learning from data, right? That's kind of the idea of it. And so the language of statistics and the formal framework of such a confidence interval. A confidence interval is a statistical tool. That's an inferential tool that we use. The first tool you meet. So let's recap briefly. The observational unit in the height example, we'll see that it's the person. Here you learn little Danish also, so observational unit. That's the person in the height example. The statistical population, we use the word population when we do it in the statistical scientific sense. It can have a slightly different meaning than when you use it as an everyday word. Everyday word you talk about usually population of people or animals or whatever, what kind of population, if we should be very formal about it, is actually the infinite collection of the numbers related to the units. So it's actually all the heights of the people. That is the statistical population, if you want to be strict about it. And the random sample is the actual data we have. Again, the word sample is used slightly different by different people. A biologist or a chemist would use the word sample for the actual thing in the petri dish or in the glass or whatever. We use statistically, it's the sample that we sample from the population. It's the sampled data. The targets when we do statistics and have collected data is the unknown population mean and standard deviations, right? That's the target. The mean estimates, the mu. The capital X mean, if you want, is formally an estimator, so that's a random variable. And we use the word statistic for both of those. Actually, and it's not our choice. We are just informing you about how the world is doing this. So if we could decide, we could have decided just to use different words, but the word statistics could mean something which is already there, or it could mean a random concept. It's the same word used. So we just, I mean, it's not going to be an issue at the course. It's not like you will go out after the exam and say, whoa, I didn't remember. I didn't know whether the statistic was random or the number given because the world is so mean. That's not going to happen. It's just an information to you that that's how it is. Yeah, the height example, we have the 10 sampled heights, 10 specific numbers. The population or heights maybe for all people in Denmark. Is there something funny here that we should share with me? Then I told you, if something funny is going to happen at one point, please stop me before it gets too much. Will someone share with me what the funny thing is? Denmark is Oh, Denmark! Oh, this little country couldn't care less about how we spell it. Thank you. At least I'm systematic in my Denmark. There. Anyway. Actually, that's pretty good. I usually have a kind of slight stutter on the D words, but it goes pretty nice with the Denmark there. Maybe I should use that one I should talk with an expert of stutter something on that one. I never tried that. Thank you for that. Yeah. Statistical learning is about learning from data about the parameters of the distributions that describe the population. That would be the way a statistician would frame what we are doing. We are learning about these two unknown things by looking at the sample data. That's what we are doing when we do statistical inference. For this to make good sense, we've talked about this already, now we'll detail it a bit more. For this to make good sense, it's very important that the data we have, the sample we have, is collected in a meaningful way, right? It's pretty obvious, but severe mistakes have been making historically here. I mean, if I just sample people on the street of Hellerup, if I go out a Saturday morning and go on the street of Hellerup, I actually never do that. I don't live there, but if I did, and ask people about their political opinions, we wouldn't get a random sample of the Danish population. And the same thing if you went to Ishøy, it would be a pretty different answer if you went on the street there, right? So it's very important to think about how you sample data. And one way, it's not the only one, but it's the basic way, but maybe also the most difficult way, but one way to at least formally making sure that it's okay is to make sure that your sample data is taken completely at random. So if I want a random sample of the Danish population, for instance, I should have the long list in the Danish Civil Registry and of 5.5 million Danes, or whoever is in that list. And I should sample them by a sample function in R and take the random sample from there and then make sure I get the answer from all of those on whatever I want the answer for, right? That's easy to say, that's more difficult to make happen. Here is the formal technical formulation of this, and this is a bit abstract, and I don't know how much it helps to put the explaining words on it. But here is the formal definition of random sampling, as we could call this way of making sure that a sample can in a meaningful way be used to say something about the population. We say that a random sample from a population that is considered infinite now, because we're not going to spend time, but we could have finite populations, we can have infinite populations. Mostly in science, populations are a bit more abstract and are infinite. Like if you are investigating cancer treatments or diabetes treatments or depression treatments, just to take a few of those treatments that some of the larger pharmaceutical companies in the Copenhagen area is working with. Then your population of interest is all future patients that has this particular illness, right? It's a pretty abstract and infinite. You don't know how many they are, you don't know who they are. It's a science, so scientific populations are often abstract and infinite. Whereas, of course, if you say the population of Denmark, well, you could define it, say all those that has a postal address in Denmark would be the people you were talking about, 5.6 million or something, I know who they are, I have the list. That's a finite distributed population, of course. Here is the definition that goes for the infinite, more abstract way of talking about a population, mostly in technical and natural science applications. That's the kind of populations we will be meeting. We say that the observations seen as random variables constitutes a random sample if they follow the same distribution. It's maybe a bit odd, but still, it should be the same distribution. It should be one meaningful mu and one meaningful sigma that they all come from. If they don't come from a single distribution, it doesn't make sense to try to estimate a mu. It's common sense, right? There should be a meaningful distribution there to aim at. And then the independence. It should be independent, right? So all observations should basically come from the same thing. So we should have a meaningful population to talk about, and we should sample from that. And then the independence, we shouldn't. Well, if we sampled heights, and I made a phone study or something, and I called, I was the student doing this height from the call center, and I need to sample 100 heights, and then I got the list from the guys who did this random sampling from the 5.6 mil long Danish list there, and they said, whoa, there are all those phone numbers. And I call a guy, hey, do you have your family in there? What's your height? It's 222, he says, 222 centimeters. Oh, God, are you playing basketball? Yeah, I'm here with my My American family, we were all here. We were a big family. We were like 20 people. Wow, great. Could you put the other ones on? I'm going to have the height from these people also. And I get 221, 224, 215, 217, 202, and a small guy, 199. And you get this. Whoa, now I have 20 observations. I only need to call 80 more to finish my job. And is that a random sample of heights from the Danish population? Out in Valles, where I live, we have a basketball team, so we see those guys around. No, we cannot just sample families because they are dependent, right? We should sample independently. Otherwise, there is a risk of making gross errors in what we do. That's random sampling, to make sure that everything else we do makes sense. Right? So it's not always we talk about that a lot, because I'm going to teach you a lot of methods in this course to how to think about statistics. All of this is assuming that it makes sense. And of course, we always have to reconsider constantly whether it really makes sense to do what we are doing. And it can really get grossly wrong if you have sampled something and it measures something completely different. There are many historic examples of that these things can go grossly wrong. It's getting difficult now. Maybe. Good job. Actually, when I did this 2 weeks ago, I thought it was wrong just in this moment I stood here. But actually it was okay, as far as I recall. Now you can get back to me. I thought I made a mistake, but I was a bit confused apparently, because it was okay. And here it's okay again. That's why I wanted to repeat it. Good job. Mr. No Guy is still on the top there, or lady, sorry.